Hi there, my name is Sarah Hopkins. It's nice to be with all of you again. For those of you that joined us last time, it's nice to be able to talk to all of you again. This time we will be really focusing in on the holiday season and talking about children and really how to talk to them about the approaching holiday season. I don't know about all of you, but I am a parent. And I know talking to my two children, I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, and talking about the approaching holiday season, it's been confusing. My children are used to having certain holiday celebrations. They're used to things being done a certain way. Again, being 7 and 10, we have certain holiday celebrations and traditions that they're used to. And certainly because of the pandemic this year, the holidays are going to look different than they did before. And we're going to have certain losses, certain customs, certain traditions that we're going to have to adjust this year because of the pandemic. Those of you that tuned in to our prior series on navigating the pandemic and really looking at the tier model of grief, in the acronym CHILD that we used before, CHILD standing for the C, consider, H, honesty, I, involve, L, listen, and D, do it over and over again. I encourage you to use that same acronym when it comes to holidays with your children. See, I really want you to consider what's important for your children this holiday season. What traditions are meaningful to them? I know for my children, we were talking about the approaching, Christmas season. And my daughter, who's 10, I don't know if she still believes in them or not, but we do elves on the shelf in my household. And she said, "Do you think the elves will still come?" And I said, "I'm not sure. What makes you think about the elves?" She goes, "Well, with the pandemic and having to stay 6 feet apart, do you think it's safe for the elves to travel from the North Pole to our house?" I said, "I don't know. That's a great question." So I'm, thinking creatively, do the elves show up this year, but do I make mini masks for the elves, for example? So see, considering what traditions are important to your kids. So it sounds like to my 10-year-old, it's important that those darn elves show up again this year. I'm really looking forward to the elves retiring, but it doesn't sound like I'm getting rid of the elves quite yet. Again, H, being honest about what you can and can't do. Certainly Halloween is right around the corner. My kiddos have been talking about Halloween costumes since the middle of summer. And we've had some honest conversations about, I'm not sure what Halloween's going to look like. We'll still celebrate Halloween, but I don't know if we're going to trick or treat. I don't know, how we'll celebrate it. I know that we'll still get costumes. I know that there'll still be candy involved, but I don't know if we're going to trick or treat. I honestly don't know what the holidays will look like. I still know that we'll celebrate Halloween. I still know that we'll celebrate Thanksgiving. I still know that we'll celebrate Christmas. And having those same conversations with your kids. What holidays will you still celebrate? What holidays do you celebrate? Do you celebrate Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa? What holidays do you celebrate? And being honest with them, what will you still celebrate? And then involving them in the conversation, asking them what's important to them, really talking about what traditions do you have. In the past, how have you celebrated Halloween? Have you gone trick-or-treating? Is it the trick-or-treating that's important to them? It may not be, believe it or not, the actual act of trick-or-treating that's important to them. It may be the wearing the costume and the getting the candy that's important to them. So can they still get a costume? Can they put even on a costume show where they take pictures of the costume, where they FaceTime or Zoom with family and friends, where they even have a virtual costume party, with different friends, where you even buy candy Maybe even do it on November 1st where you can buy candy on clearance, where you buy candy and you do a scavenger hunt for the candy while they're wearing their costumes in your own home or in your own neighborhood, depending on where you live, or within your own backyard, depending on where you live and the temperature. But again, really fleshing out and having that conversation of what's important to them and I involving them in that particular conversation. Same thing with Thanksgiving and whatever December holiday that you celebrate as well. And Al really listening as you have those conversations. Certainly, when it comes to Thanksgiving, a lot of times it's the meal that's important and it's the getting together with family that's important. And a lot of times, a lot of families will talk about how when larger families get together, everyone brings, certain dishes and people make certain foods. Is it that everyone still makes their certain food and you drop off the certain foods to the different locations? And again, you get together via Zoom, and you still eat at the same time and you still share those different foods with one another. So you're still able to talk and communicate with each other, but you're still able to, physically distance from one another. It's different. It's going to be different this year. But again, involving the children and having the conversations, I think is really important. We have to remember that with loss, it's out of control. It's out of our control as adults, but it's also out of control of the children. So when we can involve them in the decision-making process, it gives control back to them. So you want to involve them in the conversation, give them some choice, and then listen to their response. Not just listen for the answer, but listen to what they're saying. Again, I go back to that Halloween, example. What I listened to with my kids, it wasn't so much the act of trick-or-treating that was important to them. It was the costume and the candy that was important. They could really care less about trick-or-treating. They cared that they got a costume. They cared that they got to put the costume on for people. And they cared that they got candy at the end of the day. So we're going to make those things happen. And we'll see, about trick-or-treating or some part of that. I've, just received an email from the school that it sounds like downtown is going to do a drive-through trick-or-treating, and there are some alternative events that are happening as well. And then the D is do it over and over again. Again, we're entering that season where we're going to have Halloween, we're going to have Thanksgiving, and we're going to have the winter holiday season. And certainly where we live, those of you who are listening to this locally, here in Rock Hill, we're used to having Christmasville. And with Christmasville comes a lot of activities, comes a Christmas parade, comes, 2 weeks of a lot of activities that if you've lived here your whole life, I'm new to the area, so it would have only been our third year of Christmasville, but your kids have been born and raised on Christmasville, so it's going to be different. There's going to be some virtual activities, but you're going to have to be creative of what does it look like? And again, having those conversations, considering what's important to your child, being honest about what you can and can't do, what your boundaries are with the holidays, involving them in the conversation, but being honest about what you can and can't do, and listening to what they want, and then D, doing it over and over again, having the conversation over and over again. Now what I'd like to do with you is share one of my kids' favorite holiday stories. So if you want to, you can pause the video. You can invite your kids into the conversation if you want. I can read it to them. You can buy this book later and you can share it with them. You can get it from the library, however you get books in your house. But it talks about just a character in a book who the holiday season isn't necessarily going the way that the character wants it to go. And it talks about how we can make adjustments during the holiday season. So the book is The Not Very Merry Pout Pout Fish by Deborah Deason and pictures by Dan Hanna. And in my house, again, my kids are a little bit older. They're 7 and 10, but I think it's mostly my husband, but my kids have always loved the Pout Pout Fish stories. And I will show the pictures as we go through. So, in a festive ocean corner, fish were decking out the reef, hanging tinsel bows and lights in a holiday motif. Voices laughed, voices sang, what a merry time of year. Yet a certain gloomy fish wasn't feeling any cheer. Mr. Fish with his list wore a Yuletide pout. I need presents for my friends, but my time is running out. For a gift should be big, and a gift should be bright, and a gift should be perfect, guaranteed to bring delight. And a gift should have meaning, plus a bit of bling-zing, so I'll shop till I drop for each just right thing. At the first store he reached, Mr. Fish's eyes grew wide. The shelves were full of baubles. How could any fish decide? Shiny trinkets, handy gadgets, choices more and more galore, yet nothing seemed quite right. Guess I'll try the shop next door. For a gift should be big, and a gift should be bright, and a gift should be perfect, guaranteed to bring delight. And a gift should have meaning, plus a bit of bling-zing, so I'll shop till I drop for each just right thing. In a tizzy-busy crowd, shoppers everywhere beside him, Mr. Fish spied a banner for the season's hottest item. He hustle-bustled over, but they just sold out. Mr. Fish's hopes wobbled in a bout of doubt. For a gift should be big, and a gift should be bright, and a gift should be perfect, guaranteed to bring delight. And a gift should have meaning, plus a bit of bling-zing, so I'll shop till I drop for each just right thing. He reached the final store and was very first in line, but his shopping plans were dashed. We're closed, said the sign. There were no stores left. There was no place to go. Mr. Fish had nothing, not a single gift to show. Poor Mr. Fish. Oh, a gift should be big, and a gift should be bright, and a gift should be perfect, guaranteed to bring delight. And a gift should have meaning, plus a bit of bling-zing, but I've shopped till I've plopped, and I don't have a thing. He's exhausted. Mr. Fish's face sank in a crestfallen frown. I'll have to miss the party. I've let all my friends down. Then a gentle voice jingled, Mr. Fish, not true. All you really need to bring is the one and only you. If you want to give some presents, it's not too late to start. For the best gift of all comes straight from the heart. With the help of Miss Shimmer, sharing laughter, fun, and grins, Mr. Fish made gifts with his very own fins. Later at the party, Mr. Fish passed them out, and he felt very merry. This is what today's about. For his gifts were big, and his gifts were bright, and his gifts were perfect, and they all brought delight. And his gifts had meaning, and a bit of bling-zing, and his each and every friend loved their just right thing. All were happy, all were laughing, all were talking, all were singing, all were sharing in the season and the goodwill it was bringing. Mr. Fish joined his friends, and he felt his heart lift. They had peace, joy, and love. What a very merry gift. And I think that's something to remember for all of us this holiday season, both grown-ups and kids alike, that it's going to be a different holiday season because of the pandemic. And I think we all just need to really adjust what our expectations are this holiday season. And we need to remember that It's not about, the gifts. It's not about trick-or-treating. It's not about what we always have done before. It's about the love. It's about the meaning. It's about being with people we care about. And it's about making adjustments. So I think this year it's focusing in on how can we tell people we care about that we love them? How can we really be creative? How can we make gifts? How can we send gifts? Can we make cards to send to people? Can we even, give thanks for people in a different way who maybe we can't be with around a table the way that we normally are? Can we send them video messages, for Thanksgiving, or send them letters to tell them what we're thankful for? But I think this holiday season is going to look different than any has before. But I think this year it gives us the opportunity to really create some new traditions and to really pay attention to which traditions we really want to keep and which ones we can adjust for the future. So again, spend some time talking with your families and with each other about what traditions are meaningful for you and your family and which ones you can adjust moving forward this holiday season. I wish you all a very meaningful and healthy